There we go. I like this token though. This is a nice token. What up guys, Rising Duelist, Jay here, and this is going to be me building the Lair of Darkness tech twin with Infernoids. And basically what I've been seeing here is actually going to be more Infernoids test with a Lair of Darkness. And we're going to see here, I don't know what this build's going to look like yet. I have everything that I think I might need, and we'll start with there. The first thing that I want to talk about is grass. Grass with the left arms. Should this be 60 cards is the first question of the day, and that's always the first question of the day when you're building just in general Infernoids or sometimes Lightsworns, is that do you want to sacrifice the consistency for the power? And I think in this personal build with especially with the Lair in Darkness, normally I would be building 60 cards because I just like the power, but with this here, with the Lair of Darkness, it provides a control that was not available before. We are going to be going with the 40 cards. As for the structure decks, this is 3 structure decks right here, and we're just going to go over a couple of things here. The virus traps. One thing also we need to consider is that are we going to be running the virus traps? I vote no. I think the virus traps are gimmicky as best. I think the Infernoids provide better breaking boards, better negations, better disruptions than the viruses ever could. If you're going a pure build, then I think it's pretty okay. Now let's go with the Fire Doomsday. This was a really controversial card. I think in pure it's fine, but it's not good in Infernoids. Hand Destruction. This is something that you definitely could run. Personally, I wouldn't run it because I don't like giving my opponent cards. But this is actually not a bad. This is not a bad thing to run out. You can send Diablos to grave. You can send your Infernoids to grave, the big guys, and it literally would not affect you in any way, shape, or form because they can be special summoned from hand or grave. I'll keep it 1 here for now. Reincurred Nightmare, again, pure version, awesome. Not so much this. This is just tour guide. We're gonna go a no with the tour guide. Your normal summons. You don't want to have too many normal summons in this deck. Fetish Rush Rhino. Again, definitely an option, but you're not really milling. If you're doing a 60 card version, then I would recommend Fetish Rush Rhino. Maybe a Duke Shade, because he's kind of like an inbuilt kaiju, but the thing is with this, that if you do not have the field spell, he's 100% dead. Aside from just kaijuing, he doesn't do much. So you could just run a kaiju instead. Radiant is a perfect example for that because it can actually be searched. Going into the traps, this is where it comes down to personal preference. I understand that we have Lilith now, and Lilith is absolutely phenomenal with the field spell, and it can search out any trap. So you got to decide which traps are worth running. Okay? You can like side Mind Crush, Breakthrough Skill, Lost Winds are perfect examples because if you mill them, then they still have use. Void Feast is absolutely phenomenal. If you are going to be maxing out on these traps, you can max it on Lilith and just have several different options on what you can go to. Allure Darkness, I guess it depends on the build. I mean, for those who don't know, Infernoids are fire, so we probably don't want to be doing much of that. I think it's going to be more Infernoids with Lair of Darkness. I might max out on Arima because Arima can search the field spell. So I already put out a couple of the stuff here about how we might want to do this here. So we got the Arimas, we got the field spells here, and I don't know. Let's just check them things out. I think 100% we are definitely gonna be putting in triple Lair of Darkness. That is 100% without a doubt. And then I think I'm gonna put over here a little bit off camera. And that's what we'll be running, and I'll be getting that every now and then. Now, as for the really good ones, here we got Rima, we got Diabolos, and we got Lilith. And I got 2 of each here. And I don't know what type of ratios we want to be running with this yet. I am considering cutting the trap. I'm cutting a Lilith. And instead of the Lost Winds, instead of the Breakthrough Skills, just maybe 1 or 2 Void Feasts. Again, this is entirely like your choice and your opinion. I would... If you're going to be running multiple traps, the Breakthrough Skills, the Lost Ones, the Evenly Matches, the Infinite Transcendence that's going to be released in a little less than a month now, the Void Feast. If you're going to be maxing out on this, then I would definitely be maxing out on Lilith. The fact that it can, it's a quick effect, it can be attributing on your opponent's turn as well, it's pretty good. I don't think I'm going to be running Lilith. I might change this later. Arima and Diablos. I think 2 Diablos is fine. He's a brick if you don't have things to set him off. He's searchable, so you don't really need to run more of him. I think 2 is fine. Arima, I have 2 here, and I'm thinking now talking about this. Arima searches the field spell. Arima searches the big guy. Arima lets you draw. Arima is probably going to be the best card with the exception of Lair of Darkness within the new structure deck. So I'm thinking we're gonna be maxing out on this one here. We're gonna be maxing out on that because he's just too good not to max out. Let's go ahead and go over some other stuff here. Let's go with the actual Infernoid monster. Triple Decatron, no doubt. Triple Decatron is absolutely phenomenal. Sends any effect that you want, basically. Send the big guy, starts tributing your opponent's monsters if you need to. Decatron is easily one of the best cards in this deck, no doubt. As for the big guys, we are going to be running the Void Imagination in here, so I think 2 and 2 is fine. 2 and 2, that's basic. You want your Decatrons off Void Feast, but you also want the possibility for Imagination, just to kind of just blow it out. If you open it, if you're only playing one and you open, then Imagination is kind of dead, because you have to it's just so much better if you're sending them from deck to grave. Other engines, Lightsworns. I don't think Lightsworns, I used to run the Lightsworns in this. I don't think the Lightsworns will be that best. I don't think they're gonna be the best thing. They use up a normal summon. They're suspectable. They can brick. Raiden's great. Charge is great. But if you're opening up all these things together, it's pretty bad. I'm gonna say no to the Lightsworns, at least in this version. In pure Infernoids, because you have multiple options for that, but in this version we're gonna go with no. Fire King, I mean, this guy was okay again when you didn't run anything else, when you had no normal summonable stuff except for Decatron. He was really good for the negations, but now you don't really need the negations because you have, the Lair of Darkness. Big guys, I think 1/1/1, maybe another 7, because Satismus is actually just amazing, clears so many things out. 1/1/1, I think it's a fine for now. We'll test it. Petrulia, Harmodic, Antra. I think 2 Antra and 2 Harmodic are pretty good. But yeah, if you can run a Radiant. I don't have a Radiant on me, but for those who don't know, that's the Dark Kaiju. But you can Kaiju them, summon, bounce the Kaiju, and Kaiju them again. I think this ratio is good, 2-2-1. Let's go with non-Infernoid stuff. Fairy Tail Snow, Orbital Highliner. I think if you're gonna be playing these, I think you should play them together. In this build here, I don't know, maybe Orbital Highlander, because Infernoids can really just organize their grave any way they want. You can't really do much about the Lair of Darkness stuff in there though, which is why Fairy Tail is good. I don't know. If I take one out, I'm probably gonna take both out. We'll play them both. Let's go with some one-ofs. I think Foolish Burial is just one of the best, -1s in the games. Yes, Foolish Burial is a -1, but if you mill other stuff, it's just pretty phenomenal. Pot of Desires. Same thing with Hand Destruction. I don't know. I could play Paw. I could play Hand. I could play both. I don't know. Testing. I think Pot of Desires is a little bit better. You could banish stuff, but that doesn't really matter. Well, first of all, when it comes down to pure numbers, Pot of Desires is better. But Hand Destruction is a quick play, and it could come clutch if your opponent only has 2 cards in hand. They search something really vital. You activate Hand Destruction to get that out. It could be good against 2 Dracos. I'm gonna search a Masterpiece, activate Hand Destruction. Now they had to send the Masterpiece to grave. Again, they had to have at least 2 cards in hand for this to happen. I'll test them. We'll see what happens. I'll test both of these and see what happens. Return. Burial from a Different Dimension is really good. I think 1, it's at 2, but I think 1 is fine. It's a great play extender combo. A Nuku and Deviate twice in a turn. If it gets solid, just easy bait out negates. If there's a full Magician board out there, if you can get 2 Deviate or 2 Anukus out, it's gonna help out a lot, because they usually only have the 1 monster negate with Vortex. So it's really good. So we'll go with 1 here. Oh, Monster Gate. Monster Gate's amazing. Tribute opponent's monsters Lair of Darkness, and you can summon pretty much whatever you want. Hopefully mill everything. It's great. Monster Gate is we're not even. It's if you're questioning this, then don't. 1 for 1. Send Diablos to grave. Send Furnace to grave. Special summon Decatron. It's pretty good. If you were maxing out on the traps, with Lilith, and maxing out on the 3 Void Feast, then I can see you cutting this, because you might not have any targets left in the grave because you're sharpening out the traps. So let's go with no on that. Reasoning. I said yes. If you're not running any hand traps, Reasoning is just a free summon. Usually they're going to be calling 1. And if it gets sent to grave, it gets sent to grave. It's no big deal. But if as long as you're milling a lot, then this is going to be great. Let's go over a few stuff here. Do we want to be running more Infernoids? I don't know. I don't think so. I think this is fine. If you are going to be adding more, I think these 2 would be the better ones to add, because these are the ones that kind of make Void Feast alive with Decatron. Ideally, if you draw this and Void Feast, then if you're only running 1, then you're only going to be getting 1 Decatron. Vice versa. It's going to help out matching the levels to make sure they're 8. I'm currently running 1 of each, but if I'm going to be bumping them up, I would be bumping these 2 up. Some other stuff. Soul Charge. you're not going to really be soul charging anything except for Decatron. And if you're already using Decatron's effect, then anything that you would want to send off Decatron's probably already there. Soul charge, okay, I'd rather just run Monster Reborn, honestly. Just run a Monster Reborn, because your chances are you're only really going to be wanting 1, maybe 2. You know, so it's Dark Hole. You don't really need Dark Hole. You have a built-in Dark Hole. Rekindling, same thing with Soul Charge, just really only good for the Decatrons. Woods here, this is actually a really interesting one here. But since you're going to be running a more of a control build, you're only going to be, I don't know, maybe 1. I'll test 1, see how I like it. It's a brick, it doesn't help out with any combos, it only protects, and the Infernos tribute themselves off either way. But it makes them unaffected by card effects. Okay, I'm going to run 1 so I can for sure say that I don't want to run it. Pseudospace is actually going to be really interesting. Lair of Darkness is soft once per turn, so if you have multiple layers or if you have Pseudospace, you can use it multiple times and tribute off multiple monsters your opponent controls. Definitely an interesting thing. I would not run it because, again, it is a brick if you don't have it. If you're going first, like maybe side it and going second so you can tribute off opponent's card effects. Like turn 1, it's not good. Maybe a side. It's a side option. The level 1, like, again, has side option if you're going against a back row heavy deck. Harmodic, Raidens, yeah, we already went through these ones here. Solemn Brigade. Do we want to run the Solemn Brigade? I would say no. Solemn Brigade's not really that good. You might be milling a few things here and there, so the Solemn Brigade's not something you want to be running. Like, if these guys were, like, searchable off Lilith, if Lilith searches counter traps, then hell yeah. But since Lilith only searches normal, then you're better off running a Lost One or a Breakthrough skill. So, again, but personally, I'm not going to be running it. I'm not going to be running Lilith, because I'm not going to be running that many traps. I'm only going to be running 2 traps, and that's going to be my 2 Void Feasts, which I'm going to get right here. I'm only going to be running 2. Inspector Border. I'm going to put Inspector Border in the same line of a Mono Iguado. A lot of times, these were just kind of like protecting you against hand traps. Inside this more control build, you're not worried about going off too much here. Your Voids. I think 3-2 is good. Imagination is going to be dead going first, and it's going to be dead against 2 Dracos, so I think 2 is fine. Maybe side a third one if you're going second against like Magicians. This is going to help out a lot. But these ones can be hit by hand traps, so that's the only reason why we ran Iwatos. But now you have normal summonable stuff, and it's just not worth that much anymore to be like running the Iwatos, running the Inspectors. Maybe another Antra, maybe another Harmodic, maybe another Petrula. I'm going to be testing this out, and we're going to see what happens. Now let's go into extra deck. I think obvious stuff that we're going to be running is obviously our Fusion, our big boy here. Curious. I was thinking about Curious because it makes all of them dark, but when you make all of them dark, they still have to be different types, and they're all still fiends, so this is no good. Synchros, Chambara, Scarlight, Trish, Omega are all easy to make because Decatron can change his level. But one thing that people are not going to be really thinking about that much is Beals. Actually, Field Spell makes it dark. Decatron's now a Dark Tuner. Beals is now an easy out to a lot of decks. I'm looking at you, Draco. So it's nice. Omega's always good, even if you're just sending it off of like our big fusion guy. And when it comes down to links, Infernoids and links are like, they work so well together. Link Karibo for your Decatron if it's just sitting there with like no effects. Do a little Chimera or Chimera. It's just always, it's nice to have. Unclock Taker is always a good one. Ceresia and Board Load, if you can make them, which you can, you should, again, because the Inferno summoning restrictions are based on level, not links. So yeah, that's awesome. Proxy just to link up. Another one of these ones is, you can send another copy of him to the graveyard when you summon him, just so you can have more Inferno Names in grave. If you're watching this video, you probably already know what this does. Send it to Grave Pop. Black Row is amazing. Other things that you can do, because you're not, honestly, this deck doesn't really care too much about the extra deck. So what you can be doing now is having some cherry targets. Cherry targets is like Ancient Fairy Dragon, Naturia Beast, Electromite, ABC Buster. These are all options that you can run because you don't really need the extra deck. The extra deck's just kind of there for you to flex a little bit. You can also be running a Dragon Ravine and Destrudo engine. Go into Sinks, go into Ancient Fairy, search the field spell, use it multiple times. If you have something that's going to be hard to get over, same thing with, like, since you don't really need your extra deck too much, Eater of Millions is an easy option. You see how much of a success it has when you're running it inside Trickstars. Amazing success, easy option. It's just an absolutely great card to out a lot of things, and it's actually really good inside the mirror match as well. And run a second back rows because you can. Alright guys, so this is gonna be my build. So what we have here is this so far 40 cards right now. That is pretty awesome, guys. We actually got exactly 40. So I'm gonna be messing around with this and we're gonna see what happens. I'm gonna be testing it out. I might tweak it a little bit. We'll see what happens in testing. I'll be coming at you with a deck profile soon with this version just actually crisp and clean. I just wanted to show you what my actual mindset is when building a Yu-Gi-Oh deck. These are all the different things that you consider. Consider your meta matchups, consider how they interact with each other, consider if other decks are better with the deck. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Let me know if you guys want to see this type of thing again. Alright guys, Jay Garcia out.